Property fraud is one of the fastest growing scams in the nation, and Florida is in the crosshairs.
A local man is charged with trying to steal houses after the homeowners have died. West 2 News investigative reporter Greg Fox tracked him down.
March 2025, Spring Oaks Boulevard in Altamonte Springs. The silence of a standard suburban afternoon is shattered by the sound of a handgun firing round after round inside a house.
Hey, hands up, in the garage!
West 2 Investigates obtained body camera video from the Altamonte Springs Police Department responding to gunfire at this house on Spring Oaks Boulevard last March.
When Altamonte Springs police swarm the property at 629 Spring Oaks, they find a man named Samuel Bellamy inside. He's frantic. He tells the officers that he's being terrorized by people hiding in his attic. The police find a gun, boxes of ammunition, and more than a dozen bullet holes peppering the interior walls. At first, they treat him like a homeowner in the middle of a mental health crisis.
Investigates obtained body camera video from the Altamonte Springs Police Department responding to gunfire at this house on Spring Oaks Boulevard last March.
Do not move! Do not move!
When officers got to Samuel Bellamy,
Keep your hands out front, okay?
they thought he was the homeowner or a renter. He claimed to be terrorized by people in his attic.
They cake him in under the Baker Act for an evaluation. But as they start looking into the paperwork for that house, the story shifts from a shooting to something much more calculated. You see, Samuel Bellamy didn't own that house. He wasn't a tenant, and he wasn't a guest. He had allegedly stolen the entire property using nothing but a pen and a forged piece of paper. And the person he bought it from, she had been dead for over 10 years. Before we get into the literal mechanics of how he pulled this off, I want to say a huge thank you to everyone who supports Laws and Criminals. Whether you're a longtime subscriber or you just found us, your comments and likes are what keep these deep dives possible. If you're into the technical side of how criminals exploit the legal system, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We're building a community of people who want to see exactly how the law works and where it fails. Thanks for being here. Now, let's look at the how, because this is where the system's biggest flaw is exposed. Bellamy wasn't just staying in one house. Police eventually tied him to 3 different properties: 629 Spring Oaks Boulevard, a home on Greenbrier Boulevard, and another on Hermit Trail. His strategy was cold. He targeted homes owned by people who had passed away and had no local family members checking in on the place. He would then file what's called a quitclaim deed. If you aren't familiar, a quitclaim deed is a legal document used to transfer interest in a property quickly. It doesn't require a title search or title insurance. It just needs a signature and a notary stamp. Bellamy allegedly forged the signatures of these deceased owners, but he wasn't exactly a master forger. Grant Malloy, the Seminole County Clerk Comptroller, pointed out a detail that should have been a massive red flag. For the Spring Oaks property, Bellamy filed a deed claiming the owner, Gertrude Hillman, sold him the house in September 2013. But here's the kicker. He didn't bother recording that deed with the county until July 2024. That is an 11-year gap between the sale and the recording. When investigators checked Gertrude's death records, they found she actually died in 2014. If you're following the timeline, that means Bellamy was claiming he bought a house and then just waited a decade to tell the government about it, right around the time the actual owner was no longer around to dispute it. You might be wondering why the clerk's office didn't stop him right then and there. This is the part that frustrates every property owner in Florida. By law, the clerk's office is a ministerial arm of the government. That means if a document looks valid on its face, meaning it has the required names, signatures, and a notary seal, they are legally required to record it. They aren't allowed to play detective. They don't have a database of Gertrude Hillman's signature from 2013 to compare against the deed Bellamy handed them. It wasn't until the shooting incident brought the police to his door that anyone actually looked at the handwriting. When Malloy finally compared the deeds from the different houses, he saw it. The middle initial M in the signatures for Gertrude Hillman and another victim, Marion Schaefer, were identical. It looked like the same person had signed both names. But while the legal battle was starting, the physical reality for the victims' families was devastating. Ron Post, Gertrude Hillman's son, eventually got back into her home, and what he found was gut-wrenching. The house was trashed. There were holes in the ceiling where Bellamy had apparently been looking for those people in the attic. The bathroom was destroyed. Dog feces were scattered across the back porch. But the worst part wasn't the property damage. Ron walked through the house and realized that every single family photo, pictures of his mother, his grandmother, decades of history were gone. Bellamy had allegedly just tossed them out. He didn't just steal the equity, he erased the family's presence from the home.
It just blows my mind that he can live here and I can't do a damn thing yet because technically it was switched over into his name.
Ron Post was in tears as he showed us the Spring Oaks Boulevard home where his mother lived until her death in 2024. Gaping holes in the ceiling of the garage, a bathroom that looks like a bomb went off, and a back porch littered with dog feces. One thing that devastated Ron as he walked inside the house and saw the walls, nothing on them, no pictures of his mother, no pictures of his grandmother. And from what he learned, it was all just thrown out.
She should go to jail for a while.
The community reaction to this has been intense.
This isn't something that's going to happen a lot exactly the way it did. Obviously, this person was very bold.
Attorney Jennifer Englert from Orlando Law Group said this case is extreme, but she has seen fraud on a smaller scale in her career and recommends everyone complete their estate planning.
A lot of people don't like to talk about it or they just don't want to deal with it, but it saves everybody time and money in the end, especially when you own property.
Looking through the comments on the case, people are starting to piece together how a guy like Bellamy finds these specific houses. One of the most common theories is that he wasn't just lucky, he might have had an inside source. One viewer suggested someone in a city utility department was feeding him info on properties that had gone dormant or had delinquent taxes. Another theory is even simpler. He was scanning the obituaries, looking for names, and then cross-referencing them with property records to see who owned their home outright. And as for that shooting, the people in the attic story, the people who live in that neighborhood aren't buying the mental health defense.
I was appalled.
Altamonte Springs City Manager Frank Mart said this case came to light because of the neighbors.
We learned about this by residents who cared about these people who had passed away, alerting us that strangers started to go in and out of those homes.
If you see something, say something.
One commenter put it pretty bluntly, suggesting that the terror Bellamy was feeling wasn't from intruders, but from smoking crack and shooting at shadows. Whether it was a drug-induced paranoia or a genuine breakdown, that gunfire is the only reason he's in a courtroom today instead of sitting in another stolen living room. Speaking of the courtroom, Bellamy's first major appearance was a mess. He showed up for his arraignment on 8 felony counts, including grand theft, forgery, and fraud, without an attorney. The judge was visibly annoyed, essentially telling him he needed to get his act together before the next hearing. Bellamy just stood there, unbothered, promising he'd have someone represent him next time.
More on a man that police say has been trying to steal homes.
Mr. Bellamy, Greg Fox from West 2 Investigates.
We caught up with Samuel Bellamy at the Seminole County Courthouse, minutes after a judge appeared annoyed that Bellamy showed up for his arraignment without an attorney. He promised to have one by the next hearing, but he didn't want to talk with us about the 8 felony counts of fraud, forgery, and grand theft he's facing.
Can you tell us if you were filing forged paperwork to try and take control of people's homes? Police say that you filed forged paperwork. Do you want to tell us what your side of the story is?
It's a story not just about Bellamy, but also about whole neighborhoods shocked by his actions.
While he's waiting for his day in court, the public is already weighing in. One of the top comments on the report joked that Bellamy finally achieved his goal. He won a free home, except this one is 6 by 8 feet with a stainless steel toilet and a metal bunk bed. This case is actually changing the law in Florida. Right now, there's a bill moving through the legislature that would require anyone filing a deed at a clerk's office to present a government-issued photo ID. It's a small step, but it's one that might have stopped Bellamy at the front desk. In the meantime, Seminole County has had to send out 20,000 alerts to residents who signed up for their free property monitoring service. If you live in Florida, or anywhere really, check if your county has a property fraud alert. It's a free email service that pings you the second a document is filed at your address. It's the only way to stop someone from doing to you what Bellamy allegedly did to Ron Post's family. We're going to be following the trial closely to see if he tries the attic intruders defense in front of a jury, or if the paper trail finally puts him away for good. Stay tuned.